Okay, our last team in the SEC West is Auburn. Their win total set at 6 or 6.5. 6-7 a year ago, 3-5 in conference. 24th, according to the power rankings a year ago, number 42 on offense, number 17 on defense.
Yeah.
Projected to be right around the same, number 22 overall, number 40 on offense, number 11 on defense. Brian Harsin entering his second year. He survived the assassination attempt of a few select Auburn boosters. We don't know. I don't know that we have to go into that a lot. Feel free to talk about it if you'd like. Talking about this year's team, sounds like TJ Finley is going to win the quarterback job over Zach Calzada and Robbie Ashford.
Yeah.
We know their running back is a beast, Tank Bigsby, and
Mhm.
his backup Jarquez Hunter is pretty good too. They're
Yeah.
gonna have a good running game just due to those studs. They're deep at tight end, but thin at receiver. One name to watch out for is Landon King. I think he might end up being their top receiving option. True freshman a year ago, I believe, and had like a sick one-handed touchdown against Alabama. Maybe he'll step up to be kind of the guy this year. Looking at their defense, their front six should be good again, led by Derek Hall, the pass rusher, who was a stud last year, and Owen Papo is kind of the biggest name at linebacker. Their secondary, they lost Roger McCreary and Smoke Monday, but I think they'll still be pretty good. You have some guys like Nehemiah Pritchett and Zion Puckett, and some other, like, they'll probably take a step back because you do lose Roger McCreary, who I think was really good. Smoke Monday was maybe not as good as his name would indicate, but still a pretty good player. Um, so this is a fascinating team to me because it feels like if everything goes like it should, this is clearly a good team, I think. But then you also have all the off the field stuff. Does that splinter the team? Does it make them unite? To me, like this, okay, look at it this way. If I was putting actual money here, I would run away. I would not put actual money here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's make predictions. Maybe you feel more confident than I do, but I'm staying away.
The Auburn over is one of my locks of the offseason.
All right. I like it.
I have been around enough to know that weird things happen at Auburn, and everyone has completely written that team off and the coaching staff off. And it's kind of the same deal as with LSU. The ones that are still there are ones that want to be there. They're guys that they're there for a reason. They could have left. Like, they had every opportunity to leave and they didn't. I think Harsin is maybe a better coach. He's been dragged through the mud this offseason.
Yeah.
It's been a terrible offseason for him, but he's still there. He survived it all. I think he's a better coach, maybe, than what we all think. And yeah, this team, by the way, you look at we're going to go back to that blue chip ratio team. This is a team that is on it. This is a team that is one of the top 15 most talented teams in the nation. And I think we're forgetting that. This is a team that, against Alabama, should have beat Alabama last year, should have won that football game.
Yeah.
They outplayed Alabama really for like 58 minutes of that game. And Bryce Young was special in the last 2 minutes and had a 90-something yard drive to come tie you up and go to overtime and beat you in 4 overtimes. Mm-hmm. But you held Alabama and the Heisman Trophy winner without a point until well into the fourth quarter. Like, I'm a believer in that defensive line. I'm a believer in that mattering. I think when you're really, really good at defensive line, I think that makes up for a lot of things. I think this team will win a couple of games that will surprise you. They play Missouri coming like in the crossover from the East. They always play Georgia. Georgia is a permanent opponent for them, but they get Missouri as well. And I think that's an easier team. At least it's not, Kentucky or Florida. I think you can win that game. They play Western Kentucky, San Jose State, Mercer. And then they do have a home game, Penn State, a non-conference game in week 3.
Right.
These are winnable games. Like the games the games that I mentioned there are winnable games for them. I think they knock off a Mississippi State or an A&M possibly. They're not going to get Alabama this year, like we mentioned. That's in Tuscaloosa. You haven't won there since Cam Newton was your quarterback. So forget that. But I believe in this team. I'm all in here. Auburn, funny things happen at Auburn. I've been around far too long to just sit here and think that this team isn't going to be like at the very least unique. This is going to be a unique season for Auburn. It's going to be Brian Harsin versus the Boosters all year long. It's going to be an absolute battle. They have an easy start to the year, which I think they need. They're going to be able to get a number of wins early. Even if they lose to Penn State, they'll still be able to get a couple of wins early. I think they need that to get good feels there. Yeah, and I love the running back. So I think they're going to be able to kind of physical their way to and over here. I think 7-5 is doable. This is a team that could go 8-4. Like, I believe in this team a lot.
Good.
So yeah, lock of the offseason for me is the Auburn over.
I respect it. I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
I'm going to take the 6.5 number and go under. I'm going to say they go 6-6. I didn't really disagree with hardly anything that you said.
Mhm.
I'm not taking the under because I believe that they're going to fracture because of the Brian Harsin stuff. I don't actually believe that. To me, it's okay. Here's my thing. Their quarterback will be TJ Finley.
Yes.
Here are the quarterback situations in the SEC that I think are worse than Auburn's. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. No, I know.
And
all right.
Okay, he played pretty well, I guess, like against Alabama on one leg. But I do think we need to be careful about putting too much stock in the Iron Bowl. That it's the Iron Bowl. Weird crap happens all the time in the Iron Bowl, and I'm focused on Auburn outside of that.
Well, I guess my point is this is Auburn, and weird crap happens when it's Auburn.
True.
I don't think it was an Iron Bowl thing as much as it just was an Auburn thing. That's part of what gives me confidence here. Like in what was it? Was it when did they went to the championship game and lost to Florida State? It was the Nick
Right.
Marshall days. Was that 2013, I believe?
Yeah.
They were like, I think they were rated. They weren't in the top 25 to start the year. I don't believe they were like just kind of an afterthought. And it's Auburn. Like just weird things happen. They have a lot of talent that people kind of forget about. And I think maybe that's what I'm buying is the fact that they've been left for dead. And there's I think that in some ways can really unite a football team. And
sure.
I'm buying. That's what I'm buying into.
I think probably me taking the under is almost more about. Well, I mentioned the quarterback situation, but this conference is so loaded this year. Somebody has to lose the games, and
yeah.
I'm already scared. I took too many overs in the SEC West. I have five of the 7 teams going over. There's almost no way that actually happens, but I'm just not sure. Auburn is one of the few that I have some major question marks. Like, and I think probably the theme, if you look at my picks, at least in the West, it's the only teams I take to go under are the teams that have a huge red flag as opposed to maybe a few small red flags. And I think Auburn's huge red flag is probably the quarterback and receiver situation along with that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think the reason why there's going to be so many, you mentioned the overs in the SEC West and someone having to lose these games. You're correct. But like, I don't think the SEC West loses almost any non-conference.
You might be right.
I think that they pretty much mop up in the non-conference and that they just don't lose like almost any of them at all.
Yeah.
Auburn for me, I think that the Penn State game will be very telling. I think they're going to start out 2-0 because they have 2 cupcakes to start out the year. And then you get the Penn
San Jose State is not a cupcake in the traditional sense, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Correct. It's going to be
right.
Auburn will win that football game. We can agree. We can agree there. And then you will play Penn State. Penn State comes to the Plains. I think so much gets decided there. I think a win over Penn State, I think brings the boosters back. I think that brings some unity and maybe just some clarity as to like what direction they're actually heading. This thing could absolutely fall apart. There's no question. If there's any team that's going to go 2-10 this year, it's the Auburn Tigers. But like they could also go 8-4, and you're not really sure where. I'm fairly confident in the 8-4, but 2-10 is also a possibility here.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the reasons you mentioned the Penn State game, that might be one of the reasons too why I'm not quite as high on Auburn as you are.
Hmm.
A few weeks ago, we did the Big Ten East, and I took the under for Penn State,
Yeah.
and I feel worse about it every day. And yeah, it's at Auburn. I think if this was on a neutral side, I would definitely take Penn State to win that game. I think it's
Hmm.
interesting because it's at Auburn. It feels like a coin flip game, and the winner of that game has to feel pretty good about going over their season win total. I guess I'm leaning a little more towards Penn State now. I'm not sure why. It's just
Hmm.
I feel like maybe I stuck him in the grave a little too soon.